Hi everybody, I am Jeremy Siskind. I am the author of Jazz Piano Fundamentals, playing solo jazz piano, as well as some new stuff. This is my album Songs of Rebirth that came out about a month ago. I would love for you to listen to it. It's streaming everywhere you can find music. And this book is Tocando Solo Jazz Piano, the Spanish translation of playing solo jazz piano. So lots going on in my world, but I'm here to talk to you about seemingly impossible meters, right? What happens if you try to play an 11 or 13? How do people even do that? And in order to understand that, we have to understand how we play in 5 or in 7. And it comes back to the fact, and I'm no mathematician, but every number bigger than 3 can be divided into some combination of 2s and 3s. And this is how we create everything. So I said something similar on a recent video, but if we have a piece in, let's say, 5/4, then the most typical thing is to make a group of 3. Sorry, that's not a triplet. It looks like a triplet. How can I notate this better? This is a group of 3 here, and then a group of 2 after that. So we form this rhythm for 5/4. We sometimes refer to this as a clave, which is the Spanish word for key. Claves are big in Latin jazz, especially Cuban music like salsa. So, and everything in 5/4 is going to be based around this 3+2 pattern. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's almost like there's this kind of lumpy measure where we have one bigger half and then one smaller half. And you've heard this before. If you've heard take 5, right? 1. What is the left hand doing? It's dotted, dotted, quarter, quarter, dotted, dotted, quarter, quarter, dotted, dotted, quarter. Right? Or if you've heard Mission Impossible, you've heard. It is also definitely possible to have this the other way, that it's 2 plus 3. But it's much more rare, and I have this theory as to why, and my theory is that we like this feeling of having more momentum, and having this shorter part at the second half of the measure gives us a little bit more momentum, whereas the other one feels awkward. If we were going to play take 5 with this 2 plus 3 rhythm, it would be. It feels more like we're putting on the brakes, whereas the other one feels like we're kind of speeding downhill. And it's the same if we get into 7, which is our other compound meter that we play quite a lot in jazz. I know that this is a repetition for some of you who watched my other video, but hopefully you don't mind too much. The most typical thing that we do in 7 is we play a group of 4 plus a group of 3. And it ends up feeling a lot like 5. Because we have this larger group of 2 and then this smaller group of 2. But it does have a slightly different feel because of in which part we have this 3, which has the sway, and in which part we have 4, which feels more grounded. So if I were going to play take 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Again, it's possible mathematically, of course, to play in a 3 plus 4. And there are other possibilities. You might be sitting there thinking, well, could we play 2 plus 3 plus 2? That also equals 7. And the answer is, yeah, but we don't generally do that too much. Let me play this 3 plus 4 for you. Possible. It sounds kind of cool. It sounds a little bit funky, but it's going to be the one on the left side of your screen that we play much more. Okay, so what if I get to a jam session and the drummer says, I want to play all the things you are in 11? So it might seem impossible, but never fear, because what we're going to do is something very similar. But we're going to use kind of bigger numbers here. So 11, the easiest way to get there is a 6 plus a 5, right? And you might kind of see this pattern that it's a bigger number on the left side, a smaller number on the right side, and each time it's just been one number bigger. So we know how to play in 6. 6 is 2 3s, right? 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3. And oftentimes if we're playing in compound meters, we're going to be thinking in kind of faster notes. So I would think 1, 2, 3, 4. And then we just learned how to play in 5, which is 2 dotted quarter notes and then 2 quarter notes. So we've got basically 2 3s. Well, we have 3 3s and then a 2. So if you think about it that way, it's not that hard. Or you can think about it as a 6 plus 5. So if I were going to play all the things you are, I would probably try to put one measure in between each of these dotted lines. So a 3, a 3, a 3, and a 2, that would be 4 measures. So it'd be like... thing about having the short bar at the end is that it kind of reinforces the form. Like it's just going along with the 4-bar phrases now. So it's actually not that bad to play in 11. I just need to know at the end of every phrase, instead of having a group of 3, I'm going to have a group of 2. I'm going to do it for you one more time because I think I can do it better. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, Honestly, the hardest thing is remembering, right? Remember, you have to be paying attention to that meter the whole time. So even if, like in the moments, I had one moment where I let go and I was like, oh, I'm just feeling this now. But in something like this, the pattern is so long that it's going to take you a long time and a lot of practice to start just feeling it. But even with this, because I've practiced groups of 3, groups of 2, as well as groups of 6 and groups of 5, like it's not that hard to improvise. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Not that bad. So you could probably guess now, if we were going to try to play that same tune in 13, then we could do a group of 7 followed by a group of 6. So it is getting to be pretty compound now, but still like not that crazy, hopefully. Let's see how this works. So this is going to be our 7. This is going to be our 6. I really should have figured this out beforehand. I'm really doubting myself at this point, but you know what? We're going to go on this journey together. We'll figure it out. So here, everything's going to be 3s except for that first measure. Dun, 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 dun. So this actually is not really that hard either. Now, of course, I'm thinking about it. There are definitely other ways to do it. It could be 2 groups of 5 and a group of 3. It could be, it could be 2 4s and a 3. Let's actually try that. That seems like, no, that doesn't add up to 13. It could be 3 4s, 4 4 3 2. Let's try it. We're here to experiment, right? So we're gonna do 4 4 3 2. This seems like it's going to be tough. So 4s will be 2 half notes, 2 more half notes, dotted quarters for the 3, and then 2. That adds up to 13, right? Is anybody still watching this video? Probably not. So that's really a lot of movement. It's like a measure of 8 and then a measure of 5. Right, the 2 4s together make 8, and the 3 and the 2 together make 5. Now let's just pretend like we want to do something really crazy. Let's say our best friend is turning 17, and we want to, play them a version of All Things You Are in 17, just because. So I would probably start by doing some math, and the first place that I like to start is that would be like 9 plus 8. So there's so many different ways we could divide this at this point. But let's start with 9 plus 8. And then I'm sure in your comments you're going to tell me much better ideas than anything I came up with here. So 9 plus 8, that 9 could be divided into 5 plus 4. Let's do it like that. Right? And then the 5 is divided into 3, 2. So this is 5. 3 plus 2. Then we have a 4, which is just going to be 2 halves. And then on the 8 side, let's make it 3 plus 3 plus 2 to make it interesting. So 3 plus 3 plus 2. So that's going to be a long pattern. It's going to be hard to get any kind of freedom improvising here because you're probably going to have your face glued to this pattern. Let's just see. It's a pretty crazy thing to try to keep track of. But just to make a point, you certainly could. Or, with 17, is that what we said, 17? Yeah, 9 plus 8 is 17. We could divide it into a bunch of 3s. Right, if we do 5 3s, we get to 15. So 1 3, 2 3, 3 3s, 4 3s, 5 3s, and then a group of 2 at the end. This will work okay. Now, the issue is that in terms of the phrasing, this is a 6-measure phrase, so it's not going to line up terribly well with our 4-bar phrases and All Things You Are. But let's try it. it actually hits the end of the bridge, just the way that it works out. So that's all a little bit crazy. But 11 and 13 are very doable. You have to get really good at the building blocks. You have to be able to play these groups of 3 and 2 and alternate between them or move between them really fluidly. And then you just always have to know where you are. Divide it up into smaller and smaller sections until you have something that's familiar. And that's how you go about playing any odd meter. Thanks a lot. Likes, subscribes, comments are appreciated. Tell me everything I did wrong with my math. I will really appreciate that. And I'll see you around.